Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Michael Rossi, Chairman of the Aquifer Protection Agency for Clinton, Connecticut. This is our quarterly meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Michael Rossi,
Here.
Mike Knudsen, he sent us an email, so he is not here. Ellen Dahlgren,
Here.
Eddie Alberino,
Here.
Will Benoit, Mike Florio sent us an email earlier advising us he is on vacation, so he's not attending. Martin Jaffe,
Here.
Alan Kravitz, Adam Moore,
Here.
Jay Mandel, Brendan Saunders.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a quorum and we don't have any alternates to seat. So we'll move on to the minutes of the July 11, 2022 meeting. Are there any comments or corrections? It was a pretty quick meeting. Ellen,
I'll move to approve the minutes as submitted.
thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Eddie. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye or thumbs up.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any old business? I don't remember anything that we had carrying over. Okay, we'll move on to new business. We have a guest with us tonight. Jessica DeMar is from the Connecticut Water Company. Jessica, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. Mike, thank you for having me, and thanks everyone. I'm here to talk to you about the Aquifer Protection Program and Clinton's implementation of that state program. I've been working with Kathy and Christy a lot already, so I feel really happy where Clinton is at the moment with implementing the program. So this is really to educate you on anything. So it's a question and answer, but I can talk a little bit about the program. I mean, you already have an agency. I feel like you do know, you're already complying with these quarterly meetings. I do review of any projects in the aquifer protection area already, like the big project that happened, the Indian River shops, or where the Big Y is. So I think you've had some relationship with your group before this. But so do you want me to just give a super quick about the program and our roles and where Clinton is with implementation, and then open it up for questions? Does that sound good?
That would be a good start, yes.
Okay, great. So the state has an aquifer protection area program, and there's one person who runs the program. That's Kim. And we all work with Kim. She's been with DEEP for a long time. And it is the only enforcement agency or program that protects the states of Connecticut's groundwater sources, or aquifers. So aquifers just means that the substrate underground is sand and gravel. And so sand and gravel substrate creates for a really great production of water. So on the other side, other groundwater would be bedrock wells. So those are usually dug really deep, and you don't get as much water typically from those. So aquifer areas are usually quite large. And I would assume you've all seen your map of the 4 aquifer areas that are in Clinton. You have 3 that are on your western border that are in residential zones. And then you have those were adopted, the maps, which we call the level A mapping. Those maps and those polygons that are mapped were adopted in like 2007, 2008. That's when your aquifer protection program came to be. Later on, you had the water companies is responsible for mapping those underground aquifer areas, or the limits of the sand and gravel substrate. So that's our job to do that. It's very expensive. It's a long process. The state approves them. Anyway, so the aquifer for your the Clinton well was approved in 2013. So something about the aquifer protection program is that any aquifers in residential zones are exempt from the whole registration process because it's rural, I mean, not rural, but residential. So you don't assume that there's going to be any major activities that could threaten the aquifer. So the only aquifer we're really looking closely at for you that's triggering this program is the Clinton well. And so there's a couple, so I've been working with Christy and Kathy to look at what facilities in that polygon of the aquifer area that might trigger a regulated activity. For example, a regulated activity would be like a gas station, dry cleaners, mining operation, anything that's going to be put into the ground that's not going to be taken to sanitary sewer connected. So there's a whole list of those. We have a cheat sheet of what those like 30 things or uses are that would fall under that. So what happened is there's 3 people or 3 entities that run this program: the water company, the town, and the state. So the role of the water company is to do those maps, like I already said. So we've done that for Clinton. Clinton's all done. The state enforces the program and facilitates the program, and the town is responsible for keeping in compliance with the program. So we all do a part. So I also just assist the town and all towns. There's like 52 towns in this, or 32 towns in the state with that touch our aquifers that I'm doing the same thing with, that we just assist with trying to figure out how in the world to do this program. So in 2013, the Aquifer Protection Area Map was approved for Clinton Well, and within 180 days, your agency was supposed to identify facilities in that zone that may be regulated activities and register them with the program. So that didn't happen with Clinton, and you're not the only town. So the state, they're just more than happy to get towns going. So there's not going to be any consequence to being so many years behind in implementation. Let's just get us where we need to be. So with that said, we've been working to find out what facilities that might be in that area. So we came up with a few. One would be 93
Glenwood.
Thank you. Yep, 93 Glenwood. So I've been out there quite a bit. That property, a majority of it is actually owned by the water company, which kind of is ironic. We have a pump station out there. We have a really important well out there. And then we also, Schumach Construction also leases some buildings on that property, and they have a whole operation there. So I've been trying to figure out, I was actually walking the site not too long ago, trying to figure out our use of the property as Connecticut Water, getting into those buildings and looking to see what's on the ground, and also doing the same. I got a tour of the whole operation there with Jim Lawley, who's a really nice person who's been I think you might know him. He's just, I think we've had a really good relationship with Jim in the past. My predecessor was Cindy Gaudino. I don't know if that rings a bell for any of you. She's worked with Jim. She's been to the site. They haven't seen any concerning activities there, but now that we're getting the Aquifer Protection Area program really running in your town for that aquifer, we need to make sure that all the activities there are not regulated activities. So in that facility, excuse me, in that facility, there is some cold storage. Like we're also storing things like plows, generators. Those are 2 good examples. And so like preventative maintenance and emergency repairs are not regulated activities. However, if that was a garage that we were keeping things in, they're doing automotive repair on combustion engines, and that is a regulated activity. So for example, I just need to confirm, or technically the town needs to confirm, but I'm assisting you because I that's my job, to figure out if any of those regulated activities are happening there. So I know that there's some mulch storage there. Mulch you have to watch out for, because if it's chemical or dyed mulch, that could be bad. So worst case scenario, if we can get maybe Jim to move some dyed mulch, then he would fly under the radar, or his operation of a regulated activity. So I don't know where we're going to be with that. I need to work with Kathy and Christy to do that work with the landowner or the land user. Storage of chemicals is not good over a certain threshold, or could be regulated over a certain threshold. The water company does store a lot of chemicals there. It's a water treatment plant, but we're exempt from the activity because we're the whole reason why the Aquifer Protection Area program is there. However, we were storing chemicals off-site, so I need to make sure that we're following the regulations where if you have chemical storage over a certain amount, you have those best management practices in place. Like if it's spilled, it's stored in 110% containment, so on and so forth. Anyway, there's a lot of best management practices that we want to see happening in areas like that. So that's Jim Lally operation, which we're working on. We still have some work to do. Then there's, I don't know if Clinton Crossing. I'm not sure what activities are going on over there. So I think that's the type of area that we would want to maybe send a questionnaire or meet with the owner and walk the site and ask questions and see what's going on.
Well, Jessica and I did walk that site, and it was a good thing because the site site manager was, I don't want to say confused, but he thought he was doing the right thing by keeping some of the heavy equipment away from the inland wetlands. And so Jessica asked him, "Are you fueling, your construction trucks out here?" And he said, "Yes." And so thankfully she was right there, and he was very receptive, but she educated him on why, yes, we don't want to put those things in the inland wetlands, but the aquifers, that could be catastrophic.
That's a really good point. So this is a neat distinction between this whole program. So the what is it called? The Indian River
Landing.
Does the shops, right? Where Big Y is. So none of those activities are regulated activities. So that whole area, that type of retail use is not a regulated activity. So that doesn't need to register, but we had to ask some questions to figure that out. But there's certain things that can't be done or that we need to have best management practices. And one of those is fueling. So when people are doing construction, we keep an eye on those. And I think we did a good job with that, walking the site with the owner. We heard some blasting happening. That could be a super big problem for aquifers. You can all of a sudden shift some things and things can move around underground. So even though it's not a registered site, we still have a lot of work to do to keep best management practices happening, like making sure the fuel is stored away off of that gravel, aquifer area. The Clinton Crossing, I'm sorry, I have like a throat thing. It's not COVID. The Clinton Crossing across the street, that is also in the aquifer. And I don't know if they're doing anything there that would be an issue, but it's still worth with them asking the question. There was in the past, before the aquifer is approved by DEEP to be the level A boundary, that's like the approved boundary of the aquifer, there's something called level A mapping. And so there were a couple properties that got caught in that level A assessment, which don't need to be registered now we know, which is the gas station right by the highway intersection. Figured this out today. That was on the old list, which was okay, this might be a facility we need to register. And there was one more on that list, Christy, that we identified that's outside of the aquifer that we don't need to worry about. So I only think there's 2 sites that may have regulated activities. It's possible you have none, but we need to go through all the steps for those sites to see what's there.
Mm.
Let me pause there and see if there are any questions, and then I'll talk about the residential aquifer areas.
What's the relationship of this area you're talking about to where that bad fire was?
Great question.
Maybe you know that. Okay.
Yeah, so the where that bad fire was right outside of the aquifer protection area, and I can show you a map in a second. I could share my screen and show you how neat that looks if you'd like, if we have time at the end. But it's just right outside of the aquifer area. So Christy, that was the other one on the level B that got captured in the level B map. But actually that aquifer shrunk when we did further studies to get to that level A final approved. So they were right outside it. So what we did, and this is what the municipality should really do. I mean, this is your drinking water, right? This serves your community. So after that fire, I'm the source water protection person for the water company. It would be prudent to also send somebody out on your end to go take a look and know where your aquifer is. And I just put eyes on it to make sure there wasn't, you have fire hoses with water. How do I know that there weren't chemicals stored in there? And the fire hose water went down the slope and completely went all in the aquifer area. There were like melted cars there. I don't know what if there were a bunch of car chemicals that had spilled. And that well is really close to, the well is really close to that facility. So the rule of thumb is 200 feet. So with 200 feet of a well, the radius around it, that's like your red flag zone. We call that the area of influence. So if something spills there, it's going to get sucked up in that well just like that, because that water is just pumped up. Like the gallons per minute is really fascinating in these wells. They pump, I don't know if it's hundreds of thousands of gallons a minute, 1 million gallons a minute. It's a lot. It was well outside of that, but it's possible that the fire was outside the aquifer area, but within the 200-foot radius. And then we would have been really, really nervous. So that wasn't the case. We took a look at it. We talked to Jim Lawley. He was able to tell us, I understand that's not his business. That's the landscaping business. But they did have some chemicals stored there, but it wasn't a problem. But you just have to lay eyes on it and ask the right questions, even if it's not a regulated activity.
But, Ellen, just to piggyback on what Jessica just said, I think I mentioned this in my letter. When I first started as the planning and zoning clerk, I saw that there were letters sent out in 2014 to potential businesses that were addresses that might have businesses to register, but there was never any follow-up letter sent, and there was never anything done after that. And that's when I had contacted Jessica a few years back. But one thing she asked me to do, and I contacted Brian Wammer, the fire chief. I contacted Jeff Hesser, the fire marshal, and also Todd Hajak from Public Works, because as Jessica said, if it was used for training purposes, there could be PFAS in the water and other things. And they had asked about major fires. And because they've all been with the town a long time, I asked them, told them the areas and asked them if they knew of anything in their history. And I know, Eddie, you've also been with the fire department a long time. If they had thought there might be anything that could be a problem. And thankfully, they didn't have anything in memory that they knew of.
Right. Thank you for bringing that up. And that's super important. So just because an area is rural residential, like you have in your western boundary, that's your Weiss well, Reddick well, and 5 Fields wells, there could be legacy activities. Excuse me, like Kathy was just saying about the firefighting practices with that AAA firefighting foam. There could have been any types of activities that happened there in the past that we need to keep an eye out. I do know that there's one property out there that's supposedly agriculture, and agriculture is tough to crack, but I understand there's been a real problem property out there. And so we need to get some state help on that property. It's in an aquifer area. It's exempt from the registration process with the APA program because it's in residential, but we need to keep eyes on that property because it's our drinking water, and we really need to hound the state. There's been a lot of turnover, and there's new state contacts, which I know Christy has tried to get in touch with. I have a new contact for my surface water, source water protection program, who also hasn't gotten back to me because they're new, and there's been a lot of turnover, and we're happy to have them. But for properties like this, I can't enforce as the water company. The state can't enforce at least that, not through the aquifer protection program, we can't enforce. The town has done some lawsuit. I don't know the history, but you've tried to enforce. So our next step is to go through the agriculture folks in the state to try to get them to do best management practices on their agriculture activity. So I really want to pursue that. And I think this is a good committee to follow that project at that site. I also suggested that someone drive around those residential areas and take a look at what's going on there. I mean, it's the home businesses you have to look out for. And the biggest one would be you have people who tinker on small engines. Right? They fix 1 or 2 engines. Okay, that's not going to put anything over the threshold. But you take a look and they have 5 or 6. You could have bad practices and you have fuel and chemicals going right into the gravel. And that stuff just sucks down everything. And that's going to go right into the well. So you should really, take a look at the home businesses in those residential areas to see if any trigger. I'm not sure Kathy might have done that already. And just really and I'm supposed to get any projects, development projects, home business, whatever, that goes before a board, inland wetlands, aquifer protection, planning and zoning. If it's in an aquifer protection area, I don't care what zone it's in, should go to the water company so I can review it and take a look, and I can help ask the right questions to see if this home business may be a problem. But you're the eyes on your town. So I don't have the bandwidth to go and drive around all the aquifers in every town. For surface water, we literally have a team of people that walk the backyard of every single parcel in every single acre of our surface water watershed areas. And that's huge levels of huge territories of land. We have over 5,000 parcels of private property that we walk on a 5-year cycle to see if there's any runoff potential to go into our surface water reservoirs. But there isn't that requirement for aquifer areas. Instead, we have this state aquifer program. So that's our tool. The other tool
Yeah,
is
what's up?
keep an eye out there. Yeah. Question?
No, I think that was just an unmuted thing. Yeah.
Okay, great. So anyway, yeah, I know I'm talking fast and giving you a lot of information, but I'm really just here trying to stress the importance of paying attention to those purple polygons that we have in the town. In Clinton, we have 4 really significant aquifer areas, and Kathy's been doing a really good job, and Christy working with me and the state and really learning the program. So you're in really good hands. I think just working through that implementation and asking the right questions of these property owners is really where you're at.
I got a question, if I may, Jessica. It's called magic salt. You know, salt, it's a magic salt treated with different chemicals. Is that a problem on, is that a problem where big
Yes.
wires?
So I need to know what's in that magic salt. So I'll look that up. I don't know about that one exactly, but
It's all,
salt is
it's all chemicals. I sell it. It goes well below 20 degrees.
is it sodium chloride?
It's I don't know all the exact chemicals in it, but it's chloride's part of it. It's the stuff that they spray on the roads prior, but this is in the salt itself. It
That is a
smells like
really-
molasses almost, but
So let me-
it's good for 20 degrees and below. And I know those drains we don't have a sewer system in the town, so that's all aquifer under there. So
That's right.
the only
So-
way to stop that is just use sand, just sand. It's for slip and falls, you know.
Of course, I get it. And salt is is integral to slip and falls. Sodium chloride is bad. So most of the state, when we take our water quality samples, most of our water supplies, and I'll look at Clinton's, I'll actually send the numbers to you tomorrow to show you where where the sodium chloride levels are for your town. I bet you they're at the elevated levels at the notification level or above or really close to it. So salt, we always recommend that sodium chloride not be used, that you use other types of salt, and you have to have a licensed applicator put on the salt. And if you could use sand, even better. So what happens is people with high blood pressure or people who have to do a low sodium diet, if they're drinking water with all those chlorides in it, that could be bad for their health. So the Department of Public Health has something called a secondary, what's it called? It's a secondary level.
level, action level or something like that. I think it's at,
Exactly.
You can see it on the highway. It says,
is it
when
20
you're going over,
milligrams?
when you're going over a river, it'll say no salt area. It'll tell you to stop salting until you go over the highway.
That's right. So salt is a big deal. So there's a really great program that UConn has been spearheading called the Green Snow Pro program. And what they do is it's a program for municipalities for public works to be registered under this Green Snow Pro program. Say that 3 times fast. And it helps reduce the amount of salt, but still do the right amount of salt to keep everybody safe. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to forward you the sodium chloride levels in your water supplies for your 3 aquifers, so you know where you're at. You're probably going to be above. And the next thing I'm going to send Kathy and Christy information about the Municipal Green Snow Pro program. And I'll also look into your product and see if it has that sodium chloride. If you can email it to Christy, then I can take a look at it. But if it says sodium chloride, that shouldn't be used in aquifer areas. It's just, especially if your levels are high. Actually, there's a regulation that says if your sodium chloride levels are above X, the use of salt, chemical salt should not be used. So let's look into that further. I'm really glad you brought that up. That's a tough one. We have some towns where they have the town salt storage facility uncovered right in an aquifer area.
Yep.
Right. So let's first get it out of the aquifer area. And also there's best management practices out there for covering that and having that salt that you need, but in a way that's managed the best. So that question deserves some good follow-up. Thanks for bringing it up.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your presentation. I'm going to sort of cut off questions at this point because we have our next meeting coming up shortly. But thank you very much, Jessica, for coming and talking to us. And I'll look forward to the material you share.
I will. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you,
All right. Good
Jessica.
night, everyone.
Good night.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'll
Who
second
seconded
it.
that?
I
Martin?
think I second, right?
Okay. Ellen?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? The motion carries. Okay. We've got
2
about
minutes.
2 minutes and then we can start our next meeting. Okay, that'll give me time to get some water. I'll be right back.
Mm. Eddie, can you hear me? You're muted.
Yes, I can hear you. hon.
Yeah, are you doing something with, this is a completely different topic. Are you doing something with us about this bonfire in, March?
The what fire?
Weren't you doing something, with John Allen and the crew about this beach bonfire in
No,
March?
we're not doing it. They canceled it.
Oh, that's been canceled, okay.
But
All
I,
right.
I did give them permission to do it, after I showed them what to do, because we.
Well, I'm a week behind then and
Yeah,
where
we've been allowing it.
all right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
I had wood I wanted to get rid of.
What kind of wood?
It's a whole lot of softwood. Okay.
It's looking puppy, Greg.
Hey, gee, that's a nice dog. Brand new, huh? Puppy?
Oh,
Yeah, I thought he would say hello before it gets he gets distracted.
oh, Greg, he's
Really beautiful.
beautiful.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Beautiful dog.
Started. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Michael Rossi, Chairman of the Clinton Planning and Zoning Commission. I would like to call this regular meeting to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Michael Rossi,
Here.
Mike Knudsen is not here. Ellen Dahlgren,
I'm here.
Eddie Alvarino,
Here.
Will Benoit. Mike Florio is not here. Martin Jaffe,
Here.
Alan Kravitz,
Here.
Adam Moore,
Here.
Jay Mandel, Brendan Saunders. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We have a quorum and no alternates to seat, so we're ready to go. I have no comments for tonight, so we will skip that. Item 3, minutes for the September 11th meeting. Were there any comments or corrections for the minutes that we need?
Move to approve the minutes as circulated.
Thank you. Alan, did you second?
Jackie, yes.
Okay, thank you. All those in favors, please signal aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Abstaining, motion carried, all in favor? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're to the public hearing. Ellen, can you read the notice of public hearing for us, please?
Yes, the Town of Clinton Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing via video conference on Monday, October 17th, 2022 at 7 p.m. to consider the following. PZC 22-10 for 44 Waterside Lane, create a new lot with 32,870 square feet at the rear of the existing parcel, map 68, block 65, lot 113A, zone R20, applicant Lenora Aiello, agent Robert Doan Jr., PELS. PZC 22-11 for 44 Waterside Lane, create a new subdivision lot with 32,870 square feet at the rear of the existing parcel, map 68, block 65, lot 113A, zone R20, pardon me. Applicant Lenora Aiello, agent Robert Doan Jr., PELS. PZC 22-12 modification for a special exemption for 16 Nod Road, applying to remove requirement of vinyl fence on rear of property, install opaque fence conforming to zoning regulations 12.46.2 C1, map 33, block 9, lot 19 and 20, zone I2, applicant MJM Self-Storage of Clinton, agent Thomas A. Stevens and Associates, Inc. PZC 2213 for 161 West Main Street, applying for 2-lot re-subdivision and open space parcel, map 23, block 10, lot 41, zone B4, applicant agent Robert Grabarek. At said hearing, all persons will have the right to be heard. The applications and correspondence are available for public inspection on the town website, www.clintonct.org. Anyone requiring special accommodation to participate in the virtual public hearing should contact the land use office at 860-669-6133. Michael Rossi, Chairman, Town of Clinton Planning and Zoning Commission. Emailed on 9/28/22 to Harbor News to appear on Thursday, October 6, 2022, and Thursday, October 13th, 2022.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me,
Yes.
sir. I
Yes.
apologize. The applicant for Waterside Lane, it is not Lenora, it is Jarrett Kravitz. I'm not
Okay.
sure on the legal notice that I have, it has the correct name on it, the correct applicant name. So I don't know which version, Ellen.
Okay, I pulled it out of the link. I'm sorry.
It's
Okay.
okay, but yeah, it is
okay.
correct. The notice is correct with the correct
Okay.
name of the owner of it.
I was gonna say, I didn't agree with the minute or with the agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah, the documents have both names. That's actually one thing I wanted to clarify when we got to it. But I did pull this out of the linked Dropbox or whatever it is.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move on.
Point of order,
To,
Mr. Chairman, Michael
Yes.
Newton showed up.
hello, Michael.
Hey,
So we'll stay here at 7:05 for the record.
sounds good.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for joining us. Okay, we're at on item A, planning and zoning 22-10, Waterside Lane. And I would, if there's no objection, I would like to also simultaneously take care of the public hearing for 2211 44 Waterside Lane, because I feel these two are going to be confused anyway. Is there any objection to that?
We need a motion.
And motion would be a good thing.
All right, I move to consider 22, what were the numbers here?
22.
PZC 22-10 and PZC 22-11 simultaneously.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Eddie. Okay,
Aye.
any discussion? Okay,
Note that there are two different blocks and lot numbers. Block 68, one block 68, map 65, lot 130. I guess they're the same.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
the same.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, opposed? Okay, thank you. With that, is there an agent or applicant here to discuss these applications?
Yes, there is.
Chairman, are we gonna read the document list?
I thought we had stopped doing that because all the documents
Fine
are.
with me, but there is one request to read something into the record. Okay.
Okay, well,
Okay.
why don't we do that after the presentation?
That works too.
Okay. Mr. Nunn.
Yes, good evening. Bob Doan, I'm here on behalf of Mr. Kravitz regarding his property at 44 Waterside Lane. And thank you very much for combining the two applications. The first application is a special exception to allow a rear lot. And the second application is for subdivision of the property to create another lot. Beginning this project, we took the property through the Zoning Board of Appeals, and we got received permission or received a variance to allow the driveway access to be a 25-foot right-of-way instead of a 25-foot fee-owned strip. The property itself is a 1.67 acre parcel, and we're creating a rear lot, which is 32,870 square feet or 0.75 acres, and the front lot will be 40,215 square feet or 0.92 acres. We have approval from Health District, from CRAD, and I believe that's a matter of record. And we have been to the Conservation Commission, and they suggested a fee in lieu. It wasn't reflected in the minutes, but a number that was discussed at the Conservation Commission meeting was a $5,000 number, I believe. And we are prepared to discuss that further with the Planning Commission. They wanted the Planning Commission to render a decision on that. So with that, I'll keep it brief, and I'm available, obviously, to answer any questions.
Would you please just go over the plans for the
Sure.
commission? John can give you sharing ability. Oh, and Brendan Saunders is here, and
Yeah,
I
you
will see.
You should be able to share your screen, Bob.
And Brendan, I'm going to seat you for Mike Florio.
Okay,
Coming. There he goes.
all right.
Okay.
Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay, great, thanks. The property is 44 Waterside Lane. It is at the corner of Osprey Commons and Waterside Lane. It's on the east side of Waterside Lane. It's a relatively flat piece of property and relatively long and narrow. And that was part of the reason for getting a variance for the driveway. There's an existing driveway that serves the existing house. And we are proposing to use that driveway for the rear lot. There's an existing garage that will be removed to accommodate the driveway to the rear lot. The soil testing shown on this plan. Sanitary systems, a B100A system for the existing house and a new system for the house in the rear. Both are designed for 4-bedroom houses.
Okay.
The driveway, being an existing driveway, is a driveway that has more than adequate sight line in either direction and a relatively flat grade going into the in and out of the site.
Okay.
So again, the front lot is a 40,215 square foot property. And the rear property is a 32,870 square foot lot. So any other questions? I can be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, Ellen, at this time, why don't you read the letter into the record, and then we'll have questions from the commission members for Mr. Dunn.
Okay, the letter is on letterhead from Clinton Conservation Commission, Town of Clinton, William Stanton Andrews Memorial Town Hall, 54 East Main Street, Clinton, Connecticut 06413, dated October 14th, 2022. It is addressed to Michael Rossi, Chairman, Planning and Zoning Commission, Town of Clinton, 54 East Main Street, Clinton, Connecticut 06460. All right. Concerning our file CC-22-002, Kravitz subdivision, 44 Waterside Lane, Jarrett M. Kravitz. Dear Mr. Rossi, please read this recommendation into the record at the public hearing scheduled for October 17th, 2022. Conservation Commission on October 12th, 2022 reviewed the above referenced proposed subdivision with Aaron Shoemaker, PE of Down Engineering, project engineers. The commission voted to recommend a fee in lieu of open space for the proposed subdivision in accordance with subdivision regulation 5.8, fee in lieu of open space, as there are no substantial conservation areas immediately contiguous to this property for connectivity. Connecting open space is encouraged in the town plan of conservation and development whenever possible, and a goal of the Conservation Commission. In this instance, it does not seem feasible to have dedicated open space due to the size of the subject property. Therefore, for this proposed subdivision, it is recommended that there be a fee in lieu of dedicated open space. Very truly yours for the commission, Nick Webb, Chairman, and it is emailed by the Conservation Commission.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Notably, there's no mention of an amount within this letter either.
Okay. I'd like to open this up to the commission members. First, does anybody have questions for the applicant? Okay, I will just say was a little bit taken by surprise that the back lot is actually smaller than the front lot. It does meet the requirement of being 2 times the zone area, so it's not a problem. But you know, I'm just so used to looking at these and seeing the rear lots be larger. But again, you still meet the requirements, so you're fine with
Yes.
that.
Yes, we do. And it is applicant occupied property. And Mr. Kravitz lives in the front, on the front lot. And he is planning on building the house behind him and then marketing that house.
Okay. I don't have any other questions, so, Adam,
Yeah, our regulation, you had mentioned $5,000. And I think that's a somewhat arbitrary number. I think it's pretty well spelled out. Our regulations reference the general statute 825, which calls out 10% of the fair market value of the land prior to subdivision. Unless your land, and I don't think it includes the house, is worth more than $200,000 an acre, you're probably going to pay less than $5,000. But I think it's a calculation, not an arbitrary number based on the Connecticut general statutes.
I was just reflecting the conversation, and as I mentioned, it wasn't in the minutes, and I wasn't aware of the letter that was read into the record.
As I
Thank
stated,
you,
the
Adam.
letter does
That's
not
helpful.
mention any amount.
Right, correct. Mhm.
Yeah. But that's very helpful, Adam. Thank you. With that, I'm going to open this hearing up for information from the public. Again, this is a public hearing. What we're looking for are comments either for or against or neutral concerning this application. And we ask that you direct any comments to me and the commission, not to the applicant directly. If there are, I should also point out that this is being recorded, both the audio and the video. While you're speaking, it would be nice if you have your camera on, but it is not required. So that will not prevent you from presenting at this meeting. We ask that you do put your name in the chat box so that we're able to accurately record it in the minutes. So with that, is there anyone who would like to present? If you would, please either raise your hand or put your name in the chat box so that we see you and can call on you.
At this time, Mr. Chairman, I do not see any hands up, nor do I see any names in the chat.
No, I don't either. Okay. With that, the one thing that comes back, we're coming back to the commission for, we will need to discuss the value or calculation that should be used to do the value. Probably during discussion after the hearing is closed. Although if somebody feels we should talk about it before the public hearing is closed, I'm open to that.
Well, does the applicant get a chance to participate in the conversation?
Not once the public hearing's closed.
Right.
no.
I mean, I understand that, and that's why I'm posing this question. In the discussion regarding the amount of the fee.
Well, do you, what I would suggest is going with what Adam had cited. But what it would require in terms of determining the actual value is that we would have the assessment document for your initial property as it is now. And I hope, I don't know, does the assessment document give you the price of the land without the building?
The
I would-
assessment does list buildings and grounds separately.
Okay, so what I would suggest is that we come up with, as Adam pointed out, it should be 10% of the fair market value of the land based on the assessors. And I would base it on the assessors assessment. Actually, that's not quite fair market value, so that gives you a little bit of a break if we went that way.
Okay.
Adam, do you have a comment on that? You're pretty sharp on these things.
Well, I would say maybe, I'm not sure if John has more experience with that. And I guess, you know, the assessment isn't necessarily the fair market value, and the statute says fair market value. Whatever we do today could set a precedent for, you know, future.
Well, yeah, my understanding is the assessment is 70% of what they believe is the fair market value. So if we went with that, it would be the assessment value times,
But the
Yeah.
fair market value and the assessed value are both listed on the assessment that you get.
oh, it is?
Yeah, let's, at least they are on mine.
Because I would prefer to just use that data if we have to correct for the value.
Well, the assessed value divided by 0.7 would be that. I mean,
Right. The assessed value divided by 0.7 and then take 10% of that. Are you looking to see if it's on there, Ellen?
It is.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I don't know if I can, Bob, I'm going to very quickly share my screen over top
That's
of
fine.
yours.
I think we're all done with the map.
Okay.
John, I'll stop sharing.
So this is the property in question. We have the 2020 valuation. Can you see this?
Yep.
So we have the improvements and the land. This is the appraisal and the assessment. So the appraisal is the full market value. The improvements would be essentially the building. The land is just that, it's the land. So it was assessed in 2020 at $218,000.
Okay.
And assessed, I'm sorry, it was appraised at that and assessed at 70% of that, which is
Okay.
150.
So 10% of that would be 2,000.
No. No, it would be
21.
$21,830.
Right.
Okay.
21,000, just under 22,000.
Okay. Oh yeah, 10%.
And there, generally speaking, as if I may, Mr. Chairman, these things tend to, in towns that are collecting these sorts of fees regularly, or back in the era when people were doing a lot of subdivisions, applicants would generally propose a value that was, either based on their understanding of the fair market value, or the assessors, and basically propose an amount that would be reviewed and accepted by the commission, or reviewed and negotiated by the commission. But, and sometimes, they have reason to believe that the actual assessed value or appraised value would be somewhat lower than that, for various reasons. But this is a fine place to start. And, unless there is objection from the applicant, it's a reasonable approach.
May I ask, does the law read that it is 10%, or is it no more than 10%?
It is no more than.
No more than, okay, thank you.
That the commission is empowered to require.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. With that then said, what are you proposing as an applicant?
We were, maybe we were, I don't want to say misled, but the Conservation Commission thought that it would be around $5,000. $21,000 seems exorbitant for creating one lot. And but, you know, we don't, we're dealing with 1.62 acres of land. And if we went by, if we were able to give land and we were able to give 0.16 acres of land, I'm trying to do the math as I'm talking to you. That would be about 7,000 square feet of land. And we're essentially equating that with $21,000, which seems to me to be excessive for this circumstance.
Okay.
And if and John, you can probably answer this. When we used to do subdivisions every week, we would determine in most instances a portion of the land, and we would convey the land. And when we did a fee in lieu of, we would divide it amongst the number of lots that were being developed and determine a fair value per lot. And the last one that we did that way, the last fee in lieu we did was a multi-lot subdivision, and it was approved with the developer being allowed to pay the fee in lieu as the lots were sold. And we would ask if we could do that here also, but the amount in that subdivision was $1,500 a lot.
What zone was that in?
It was in Westbrook.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't Waterview property either. And I think he's being not really punished, but it becomes excessive because it is a valuable and a very desirable lot that has water view. And the 21,000 just seems excessive to me.
Okay. Comments from the commission? That to me does seem high. If our view is that we can do it as up to 10%, my concern is making sure that if we have other people doing fee in lieu, that we use the same mechanism for determining their fee. I don't want to do these and not have something that we're consistent about. So, you know, I would love to hear from some of the other commission members if they have an idea. I mean, I'm the scientist. I go by the formula, 10% of the value of the property.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it, very straightforward. But I would welcome anybody else's. Martin?
Well, most of the houses that are in the area and are likely to be built far exceed $1 million in value, in which case $20,000 is a very small fraction of the amount of gain to be realized from the development of that parcel. Just point that out.
But it's supposed to be valued on the unimproved land.
Right. But the reason why it's being subdivided is to be developed. So.
Okay. Are there other comments or thoughts?
What is our history in terms of collecting these payments in lieu? I mean, the precedent that the applicant just cited was in Westbrook, but when's the last time, you know, maybe John knows this, that the town of Clinton did
We
have
haven't.
payment?
we haven't done a fee in lieu unless it happened during your time period, Ellen.
Yeah, I
For a
can't
very
remember
long
one,
time,
you know, during.
because prior to you joining, back when, well, Alan was here. We had a lot of subdivisions, but most of them were big enough that they actually gave us property.
Right. Yeah.
Do you remember any, Ellen?
I don't remember any, you know, I mean, I've been on the commission during your interregnum period. I don't remember any. Eddie's also been around forever, and also Mike. I don't think, you know, any, you know.
I've been around the longest, I think, and I don't remember a single one.
Okay.
I agree
So,
with you,
Issue
Alan.
never arose.
yeah.
Good
Well,
consideration.
Well, Adam said, whatever we do tonight, it sets a precedent, so
Right.
we should make it right.
Would we be able to act upon the regulation, upon the application saying that it's subject to a fee in lieu? And do we have to actually set the amount of the fee tonight, or is there anyone else that we should be consulting or anything of that sort?
Well, we need, I mean, if we didn't want to close the public hearing tonight, we could wait, but it would depend on whether or not we're going to actually get any other information.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we will.
I guess you know, from one perspective, if they had given 10% of the land, or that 7,000 square feet, then they're giving up the value of that land. Which
Correct.
would be 10% of the value of the land.
Right.
So if you were to give up the land, it's the same value as paying the fee instead. It's not, the fee's not more than what the value of the land that would have been given is.
Mhm.
Let's take the 7,000 square feet and put a park bench out there. I'll go sit out there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, John.
so I mean, the way that I'm going to share my screen again. If you wanted to move on from this evening, so this is section 825 of the Connecticut General Statutes. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
So the highlighted section is the subdivision fee. So it talks about the fair market value, but in here in the section is the fair market value shall be determined by an appraiser jointly selected by the commission and the applicant. So if you wanted to clear this out today, you could assign, the selection of an appraiser on the town side to staff or town attorney, and we could work with the applicant to jointly agree upon a value based on an appraiser.
Okay, and it would be 10% then,
A maximum of 10%.
max? Well, that's the percentage is what we have to figure
Yeah,
out
the
then.
percentage is what we've got to come
Right.
up with. And, in all honesty, if the applicant would probably prefer the assessment that the appraisal that's in the existing assessment to a new one. Yeah, I think the percentage is the open question.
applied to fair market value.
Correct.
I would go along with.
I might be simply clarifying what Adam's saying, but being that appraisal from 2020 is based on the whole lot, and this is not the whole lot that's going to be used, are we giving any consideration for the fact that there should naturally be I think I'm saying what Adam is saying, but if only 30% of that whole lot is going to be used for this new construction, then shouldn't that be factored in as well? So you would cut the appraisal down.
No, it's the 10% of the lot would be given to the town if it was going to open space. So it's the
Gotcha.
value of that 10% is what Adam was
10%.
talking about.
Gotcha.
I think I clarified
And
that
I
was
think the
right.
statute said the value of the land prior to subdivision, which.
Oh,
means the
okay.
whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
What he said.
So,
All right.
what are, I'm still inclined to stay with 10%, but I would, I'm not, it's just my voice. If it, everybody has a voice in this on the commission.
John, just to clarify, look at the appraisal again. Make sure the appraisal, what we said was 70% and then 10%. And that's it. We'll just go by those.
Okay, just a moment.
Yeah, can we take a look at that again?
Just one more time, and there's nothing ambiguous about it. And that's a state statute. I mean, Adam is correct. And what we
Yeah,
do.
the appraisal set, the appraisal, I believe the 10% was 21,000.
Okay, so now,
$21,830.
so
That's
you
for
got,
the land, yeah.
so you got land at 218, right?
21,200.
Okay, and then you got
What's the fair market value?
fair market, and then 70% of that, correct?
No, the 70% just has to do with your real estate taxes. It has nothing to do with the.
It would just be 10% of
It's
that.
up to 10% of the 218,300.
No, 10%.
Yeah.
It should be a percentage of fair market value.
Yes,
Right.
Right. And this is-
$21,830 is 10% of that.
That's right. So the number I've highlighted is the fair
Fair
market value, the appraisal of the
Right.
land portion of this property.
Correct,
It's not the building portion, it's
Years
just the
ago.
land.
correct.
And that's
And we're able to go up to 10% of that.
by statute, correct?
Right, we could pick 5%, we could pick 2.5, we could pick 8, it just don't exceed 10.
Correct.
Right. And that's what I want to hear from you is what percentage, if we don't go at 10, what would you suggest and why?
I hate to postpone this, but should we look to see if there are any comparables in any other towns along the shoreline, just find out what they're doing? So we can kind of be consistent with our neighbors?
That's kind of what where I was coming from, was the notion of, is there, should we, rather than just shooting from the hip here, maybe we should figure out what customary practice is.
Okay. I think that makes sense. And in that case, what I would like to do is to then have a motion to we haven't, it's not closed the public hearing, it's
We haven't
to
closed the public hearing and.
no. I'm saying I forgot the term. We want to
Continue?
continue the public hearing. Thank you. It's been so long since we've done that. I'd like to continue the public hearing until next month on the 11/14. And so I'd like a motion to do that so that it gives us time to get some better data on how we should value this property and that, in terms of fee in lieu of.
Well, actually, the dispute is how to value the property. We have.
Well,
the data
it's
in
how
front
we
of us.
determine the
It's-
fee
it's
in
the
lieu.
percentage that we want to assess the fee. But if that's information that could come from staff, I'm just trying to think of whether we could close the hearing, get that information from staff. And
Either way, we're to next month.
oh, yeah, I understand. It's just,
Because I would prefer that whatever we do, we still have the applicant able to speak.
okay.
And that's where
obviously-
I think a motion to continue would be better. Adam, you had a comment?
Well, I heard some comments about shooting from the hip or how to value it. I don't think that the regulation meant the fee was supposed to be less than the value of the land. It was in place of the land and should be the same value of the land that would have been conveyed to the town.
Mhm.
Why would the
Right.
town accept a lesser value just because it's a fee in lieu of the land?
And as I said, I agree with 10%. So I'm agreeing with you, I believe.
Yeah, my only point is that if every town around is doing, 5% instead, at least our decision might be informed by that, that's all.
But like Martin said, Martin said that once the house is complete, you're looking at $1 million home, so
Oh, yeah.
But it may not sell for a long time. You don't know.
And it's
So
gonna
that-
cost $1 or $2 to build.
Right,
Mr. Chairman.
yes.
So I mean, I'm happy to do a quick survey of other communities. In terms of their fee, but I would strongly encourage you not to necessarily be too swayed by what other towns are doing,
yeah,
but more than per what your plan of conservation and development guides in a case like this. And if I might share my screen one more time.
Go ahead.
So this is a copy of the plan of conservation and development. I've forwarded this to the conservation chapter. And so we're on page 117. If you can see this. So we have 2 bullet points recommendations, one after the other. First is advocate for the creation of a permanent open space preservation fund for acquisition of trail easements and connections in addition to real property acquisition. Then the second one is encourage the use of fee in lieu provision of subdivision regulations in development proposals that do not offer open space of high conservation value. So obviously this does not speak specifically to a percentage. However, the fee in lieu provision of subdivision regulations obviously refers to the statute that again references back to that maximum of 10%. So this, that the taking of that fee in a case like this is strongly supported by your POCD.
Thank you. Well,
I would move to table until we resolve
or
this.
continue. The applicant
John?
is here. Jarrett, I believe you want to speak.
That would be great. Thank you so much, everyone. So as Michael, you were so kind to point out, you were a little bit taken aback initially by looking at our plan for subdivision here. I think anyone who has driven down Waterside Lane appreciates the historic and old world charm we have down here and has seen probably the renovation work that nearly killed me over the course of 2 years on our own personal home here. It probably wouldn't be much of a surprise that I would want some sort of a buffer on our property and shrinking the size of the rear lot here. My goal is to build an exceptional home back in the rear of our property, but also one that will fit with the neighborhood, one that will be minimal in its proportions. And having been a custom home builder and a developer of higher end custom homes around Connecticut for a long time, in any town, I've never seen such a high percentage of financial request on this type of a situation for a fee in lieu. That small portion of a property is so nearly impossible to utilize by anybody's standards that keeping to a 3/4 acre lot is really our best attempt to try to preserve the look and the character of Waterside Lane, keeping that house pushed back as far as we can, buffering through plantings, and then doing the best that we can because we don't have that acreage to give up. And I would say that for anybody who thinks that instantly a building lot is worth $1 million down here, it's not. And the people who are buying some of these existing homes in the area and renovating, they may spend $400,000 or $500,000 on these houses, but at the end of the day, they're left with the same struggles that everybody else is down here. Can they improve these homes beyond the value of resale? And we don't live in the hammocks. We haven't had many high-end sales that are waterfront down here that carry that kind of a premium. And this lot does not have waterfront views. We are set way back. It does not have water views from this property. So I'm doing my best to try to make the best of the property and build something that really fits in character with everybody else in the area here.
Thank you. Okay. Alan had actually made the motion. I don't know if it got seconded to continue.
I'll second that.
Okay. John, that will give us time to look for things, look for more information. Is there anyone else from the commission that has discussion on this?
Don't
Okay.
forget, there's going to be a general rule that apply to other properties too. And we have to take that into consideration.
Correct.
Question, should it be referred to the regulations committee to report back at the next meeting?
That would be fair, but we would have to ask the regulations committee to speak earlier than usual, but we can do that on the agenda.
What will be the charge to the regulations committee?
Make a
Develop
recommendation.
standard for fee in lieu of dedication.
Well, okay. So it would be either something existing in our regulations now,
Right.
or you'd be asking them to come up with a new standard, which you couldn't necessarily on the fly.
Right.
Yeah, I
Couldn't-
mean,
They
you
can't
could-
apply it. They can recommend it is all we could get.
Yeah, because we'd have to have a hearing on the new regulation and everything.
And a new regulation wouldn't apply to a application that
Existing
came in
application,
before it.
yeah.
And actually, as I'm thinking about it, I don't know if you should actually have a committee meeting to discuss a pending application while a hearing is going on.
Yeah.
Good point.
It gets kind of messy.
And I stand corrected. Thank you. Okay. If there's no further discussion, I'd like a roll call vote on continuing this public hearing. You're on mute, Christy.
Sorry about that. Mike Knudsen,
Aye.
Ellen Dahlgren,
Aye.
Eddie Alberino,
Aye.
Martin Jaffe,
Aye.
Alan Kravitz,
Aye.
Adam Moore,
Aye.
and Brendan Saunders. Is he here?
He's here.
You not hear me?
Oh, nope. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, you're muted.
I love talking to myself. That's why. Okay. So I think everybody, so this, that's what I was saying to myself, was we have just continued both of these because we were considering them together to November 14th, which I believe is our next meeting, unless that's Veterans Day. No, Veterans Day will be on the Friday this year. Yep. Okay. With that,
Thank you.
we'll move. Thank you very much. With that, we'll move on to item C, Planning and Zoning Commission 22-12, modification for a special exception at 16 Nod Road. We don't need to do correspondence. So is there an agent or applicant here for this application?
Yep, Tony Baldock, agent for the applicant. So just a quick rundown. We're looking to modify and improve special exception by removing the requirement that fencing be vinyl. That was kind of specific. Section 12.46(2)(c)(1) only states that fencing be opaque. The owner is seeking the option to use, anything else like solid wood or page fencing. Additionally, the rear of the property adjoins the railroad tracks, and the railroad tracks actually 15 feet higher than the property. Also, when this project is completed, half of the property will be blocked by the building. So I guess requiring vinyl fencing along the rear of the property along a railroad track seems kind of excessive. So we're seeking them to modify that specifically. Any questions?
Seems very straightforward. Your application, I will leave this to the commission members first. Adam.
So I guess two questions. One, the section you're referencing is only one of several sections that is approved uses for the lot. The other one is the contractor storage yard, which says the fence needs to be 6 foot high, opaque or solid, and a natural landscape buffer. I've got no exception to eliminating the vinyl, but what would you propose in place of it? You probably should have what you propose to put in place of the vinyl as part of the application rather than leave it
So
open-ended.
we were just looking to go with what the regulation states, something opaque, and then if whatever the developer picks, being availability and pricing, that Kathy would come out and look at it and make sure that it was in fact opaque.
So you don't want to eliminate the fence, you just want to eliminate the requirement of being vinyl.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission? Okay, hearing none, I will open this up to the public again. Anyone from the public who would like to testify on this application, please put your name in the chat and let us, put your name in the chat so that we can reflect it properly in the record. And if you can raise your hand in Zoom, that would allow you to move up to the top where we can see you. I'm not seeing any activity. So we'll move it back to final comments or questions from the commission members. Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you, Alan.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ellen. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. With that, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mike Knudsen,
Aye.
Ellen Dahlgren,
Aye.
Eddie Alvarino,
Aye.
Martin Jaffe,
Aye.
Alan Kravitz,
Aye.
Adam Moore,
Aye.
and Brendan Saunders.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay. That makes this eligible. Is it listed down in the?
We don't have anything in the old business portion of the
Wanna-
agenda.
Yeah,
That was my error. I apologize.
that's okay. We'll
I think we
Bring
can
it-
move to amend the agenda when we get there. All right.
right, we can do that. Okay. Item D, planning and zoning 22-13, 161 West Main Street, applying for a 2-lot resub and open space parcel. Is there an agent or applicant here for that?
Mr. Chairman, we have a letter that from the Conservation Commission that they've requested be read to the record for this as well.
Well, go ahead. Maybe they'll help us with this one.
Okay. Clinton Conservation Commission, Town of Clinton, William Stanton Andrews, Memorial Town Hall, 54 East Main Street, Clinton, Connecticut, 06413. Letter is dated October 14th, 2022. Addressed to Michael Rossi, Chairman, Planning and Zoning Commission, Town of Clinton, 54 East Main Street, Clinton, Connecticut, 06460. Sick. Concerning our file CC 222-001, Bauer subdivision 161 West Main Street, Fred Bauer. Dear Mr. Rossi, and this is highlighted, please read this request for more time to address this application as to open space into the record at the public hearing scheduled for October 17th, 2022. The Conservation Commission on October 12th, 2022 added this application to its regular meeting agenda. There was no representative present for this application, and it was tabled until a representative could be present. The commission respectfully asks for more time to meet with the agent and or owner of the property. The commission's next meeting is on November 9th, 2022. At this time, there is no recommendation as to open space. Very truly yours for the commission, Nick Webb, Chairman, emailed Conservation Commission.
Thank you.
And we're dispensing with the reading of all of the documents.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Bob? Nope, we're not hearing you. Still not. Okay, with that, can we temporarily move ahead on the agenda to the staff reports, and then we can come back to this application?
I just want to mention, Bob, there's a phone number on the agenda. You can call in. If you're muted on your computer, you can use your phone and call in.
You could send him a message in chat. I don't know whether he can.
Yeah, I
hear
can
it.
do that.
Yeah.
No, he heard you. I can tell.
Okay. Yeah, you got, okay, good. Do you want us to do our staff reports while we're waiting, or?
Sure, why don't we do that, and then we can come back. So I have John first as consulting town planner. John, do you have anything you want to emphasize?
Well, I'll take the fact of you not mentioning something during your chairman's comments to step on my planned obsolescence. The town has, after nearly 9 years of attempting to find a competent planner, the town has been successful in hiring a very good full-time planner. And I'm going to mute that phone for just a second, Bob. I'll unmute you in just a second. I'm going to mute you on your video, and then I'll unmute you on your telephone, so we don't get the feedback. So the town has been successful in hiring a full-time planning director. Her name is Abby Pearsall. She comes from the town of Waterford, Connecticut, where she's been planning director for the last 7 years or so. She is excellent, and it's an outstanding hire from the town. She'll be taking over at the end of November, beginning of December. So you have to endure at least one more planning and zoning meeting with me. But it's an outstanding hire for the town. And I'm happy to answer any questions that people have about my report.
It was an honor having you lead us, John. I'm being honest with you.
Thank you, Eddie. We don't need to go over that right now, but I thank you.
Yeah, next month's the party.
Okay.
Oh, still wanted to say it.
Okay.
Speaking of parties, are we ever going to meet in person again? But anyway.
Well, We're not allowed to
So,
have booze at those meetings. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Okay, Kathy,
So one of my, we talked to Jessica earlier, so the Aquifer Protection Agency was, a significant part of my report there. Also, I met with two different people who are interested in 69 Waterside Lane, and neither of them are interested in demolishing the structure. So we'll see what happens with that. Just been busy with blight. I mentioned in my report since January 1, we've had 60 blight complaints. And as of today, I closed, report the numbers from Christie, I was at 51. And last year we received a total of 60 and we're already at 60 now. So we're ahead of where we were last year with blight complaints. We also have a lot going on with ZBA. We have 6, there are more coming in like before the deadline. So 6 or 8 ZBA applications for Wednesday night's meeting. So that's been super busy. Right now we're in the process of office renovations. So Christy and Sherry and I are in the Rose Room, and we're just kind of making do with boxes and things, but we're doing well down there. And then we'll eventually be moving into the old workspace. So the building department is kind of separate now. It's just the building clerk and building official, and then land use will all be one. So Sherry is our ZBA and wetlands clerk and conservation clerk. Christy is our planning and zoning clerk, and then the new town planner and I will be in the back section. So once we're all set up, I'll let you know. You guys can come and visit.
okay, thank you. Okay, let's give Bob his voice back, John. We'll move back to that.
All right, so Bob, on your phone, it's *6 should unmute you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yay. All right, let's see. So we have an application in front of you for a 2-lot and open space subdivision. This was approved back in 2016, and it was approved with just 2 lots, and there was no open space, but there was a conservation easement on one of the 2 lots. We're back in front of you today with essentially the same subdivision, except this time, rather than just 2 lots, we did the 2 lots and a fairly large piece of open space. The first lot, the lot up in front, is one that's already developed. It's got a building on it, septic system, all the other usual stuff. The proposed lot in the back, we don't have any proposed activities on it. So there are no regulated activities with respect to a building, a septic system, or anything like that. However, we did do a number of test pits to show that we could support a septic system for whatever goes on out there within reason. And there is a letter on file from the health department indicating that they approve the conceptual idea that you can put a septic system on the property. The open space parcel in back was mentioned earlier that we did not go to the Conservation Commission meeting. I found out about it the next day. There was an email sent to me the morning of the meeting, and I was out all day, so I didn't get a chance to take a look at it. So we do need to resolve that issue with them. So I expect we should continue the hearing. The other reason we should continue this hearing is because with the open space parcel, we need to have a not-for-profit 501c3 organization that will accept it. And the owner of the property is inquiring with the Clinton Land Trust as to whether they'll accept it or not. Not too much else. Any
Okay.
questions?
What is well, my first question is the entire parcel B4, or is it divided? Because I thought the rear of the parcel was in a different zone. Did I mistake
Bear
that?
with me. I do have something that should show that. Actually, it looks like the entire parcel is under one zone.
Okay, well, that makes it easier. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other comment, and this would be something the Conservation Commission will want to know about is, but we do too, is there any other open space connected to or surrounding this area?
I am not sure. I do show on the front page of the plan all the open space areas surrounding this. There is nothing contiguous to it other than, and I'm not sure what the status is of the Lupone property. Perhaps you can enlighten me on that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know for sure there either. Is it residential around it though? And behind
there's
it?
residential across the street on Highland Drive. There is commercial across Highland Drive on West Main Street where the gym is, and then in the back or to the north of the property is Town of Clinton property. It's
Okay.
I-1.
Yep. Okay. Those were my questions. Thank you. Anyone else on the commission have questions? Okay. We are going to continue this, but I will first see if anybody in the public would like to comment on this application at this time. If you would, please put your name in the chat and raise your hand. Seeing none. Would
Can I
anyone?
interject a moment?
Certainly.
Okay, this relates to this parcel, and it also relates to the another discussion you had regarding open space or fees in lieu thereof. It seems to me that if you were to, in this property or another property, look at open space or fee in lieu thereof, there's two considerations. One is that a lot of times you want the upland to wetlands proportional on the open space versus the entire parcel. In this case, it's a little bit odd because all the wetlands are on the open space parcel, so it would be impossible to have met that mix of uplands to wetlands for the thing because all the wetlands here are going onto the open space property. A consideration there is the total parcel acreage is 14 acres. The lots in front that would be developed or already are developed are about 3 acres and about 2.3 acres. The open space proposed parcel is 8.57 acres, so it's more than 50% of the overall property. But it would not meet the 10% open upland to wetland or the upland wetland ratio for the property. So that's a wrinkle, I think, in consideration of evaluating open space for your commission. The other one that I was just thinking of was if we instead proposed a fee in lieu of open space, and say you had a 100 acre parcel, and you wanted to split off 1 acre, say on a street in front, would you want to have the fee be the 100 acres if you're only splitting off a small parcel? So another wrinkle in the overall evaluation, I think people might want to consider when you're looking at the whole open space issue.
Well, except the problem with that is you'd only be dividing 100 acres into 2 lots, and that doesn't meet the subdivision requirement or the open space.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. With that, is there a motion to continue this public hearing?
Motion to continue.
Thank you, Michael. Or Mike.
I'll second.
Thank you, Martin. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, with that, Christie, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mike Knutson,
Aye.
Ellen Dahlgren,
Aye.
Eddie Alberino,
Aye.
Martin Jaffe,
Aye.
Alan Kravitz,
Aye.
Adam Moore,
Aye.
and Brendan Saunders.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you
and
next
thanks,
month.
Kathy, for giving me a voice. Bye.
Bye. Okay, with that, I would like to have a motion to add an item C to new business, which would be PZC 22-12 modification for a special exception for 16 Nod Road. Can I have a motion to add that as item C?
Mr. Chairman, should that be added to new business or old business?
I'm adding it to new business. Because, well, it could go either. We could make it A and old business if you would be more comfortable with that.
I think that's where we've usually done it, but, you know.
Okay. Well, in that case, I would entertain a motion to move it to old business.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. In this, we need a 60% vote on this, so we need to do it as a roll call. Christie?
Mike Knutson,
Aye.
Ellen Dahlgren,
Aye.
Eddie Alberino,
Aye.
Martin Jaffe,
Aye.
Alan Kravitz,
Aye.
Adam Moore,
Aye.
and Brendan Saunders.
Aye.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, everybody. So that's passed. Okay, going back to our next one, next item is new business, item A. Planning and Zoning Commission 2215, 215 East Main Street. It is a text amendment for the zoning, a change to the zoning regulations to permit electrical vehicle charging display kiosks. This is going to be, since it's a special exception, or I'm sorry, since it's a change to the regulations, it will require a public hearing. So after a brief discussion from the applicant, if someone's here, we'll go ahead and schedule it, receive this and schedule it for public hearing. Is there an agent or applicant here for this? Okay, go ahead and.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, members of the commission. Maximilian Mahalik with the firm of Cuddy and Fader on the behalf of Volta Charging LLC. I am joined this evening by Gabby Da Silva, project manager with Volta. So thank you for offering us the opportunity to provide this brief presentation. Just wanted to explain what's driving this text amendment request and a little bit about what Volta does. So Volta is a publicly traded company that operates the most utilized electric vehicle charging network in the United States. And Volta is partnering with commercial operators such as Stop and Shop, as well as other property owners and other commercial operators to provide charging infrastructure on site as an amenity for residents and visitors of different communities. Now, Volta offers what is called level 2 charging, which is free for users, as well as what is called DC fast charging, which is provided at a subsidized cost. This use is important. There are initiatives ongoing at the state level and the federal level to expand electric vehicle infrastructure, and vehicle makers are orienting towards the production of electric vehicles. We see that more and more in the news. Now, on the state level and at the federal level, some of these initiatives include the Governor's Council on Climate Change and the U.S. Department of Energy Zero Emission Vehicle Memorandum of Understanding. And there's also the recently adopted Connecticut National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program. So we're really working in this context where there's a lot of policies introduced to promote electric vehicle infrastructure, including the charging infrastructure, which Volta provides. I also want to note that this type of infrastructure and the introduction of same is in line with initiatives undertaken by the town. So this includes implementation of the sustainability committee, as well as in line with the town's plan of conservation and development, including goals to minimize pollution, for example, as well as to streamline the approval processes for different requests. I would like to also note that the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities has articulated support for this initiative. So turning to the actual proposed text amendments, this is all oriented towards providing a convenient amenity for residents and visitors to the community. And it enables Volta's infrastructure, which is also utilized by other companies similar to Volta, in which there is sponsored content in the form of digital advertisements from popular brands, but also from local businesses. And this allows Volta to provide the free level 2 as well as the subsidized DC fast charging. It's essential to the business model, and it is a growing business model across the industry. So turning to the proposed amendments, which were included with our submission of September
Mr. Chairman,
26th.
Yeah, go ahead.
this is just for receipt, is it not?
Correct. Yeah, we don't need the full presentation.
Oh, okay. I always like to come
We will
prepared.
need that. We will need that once we're in public hearing. And so rather than repeat yourself.
Understood. Well, with that, just to kind of then wrap it up, the text amendments included in the submission, and it does include a lot of recommendations received from our conversations with town staff, as well as a preliminary meeting we had with the design review board to minimize any potential impacts. I'm excited, or I am excited, and I am also happy to go in to any more questions that you might have specifically tonight. Otherwise, we look forward to the public hearing.
Yeah, it'll be more appropriate for the public hearing to have questions.
Understood.
Thank you. So with that, can we receive this and schedule it for public hearing on November 14th?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you, Ellen and Alan. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in, oh, we needed a roll call vote. I'm sorry. Can we have a roll call vote?
Mike Knutson,
Aye.
Ellen Dahlgren,
Aye.
Eddie Alberino,
Aye.
Martin Jaffe,
Aye.
Alan Kravitz,
aye.
Adam Moore,
Aye.
and Brendan Saunders.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next month.
Thank you,
Thank you,
members
everybody.
of the commission. Have a great night.
You too. Okay, on to item B, which is 22-08 for 79 Shore Road, which is CAM. And
Excuse
Christie,
me,
you got
sir.
something? Yes, go right ahead.
Actually, that application has been withdrawn.
Oh, okay.
I apologize about that, the confusion.
No problem. Okay. Then we move on to old business,
Yes.
which
Mr. Chairman, this is Joe Wren. That application has been withdrawn. That's news to me. I'm here we got ZBA approval. Next step is planning and zoning. We're on the agenda, and I believe we're going forward. Kathy?
you're muted, Kathy.
Okay, I'm unmuted. So this one's a little bit confusing. What happened was this application came to ZBA and then it was not approved. So it came back to ZBA and then it was approved. In that process, because it went through twice, Marcy Ballant from Deep already looked at the CAM more than once. So she didn't feel we needed to have an actual CAM application. So the thing is it's coming through, but the applicant was refunded the fee because they didn't need to present a second application for the CAM. So it's a unique circumstance.
Okay, so the CAM is
The CAM is active, but they didn't have to pay for it and actually go through and actually apply for the application. They just need the checkbox approval from PZC.
okay. So what they need is the permission for the tear down.
they've gotten the variances they need from the ZBA, and the CAM was approved by the ZBA, and the CAM came before you. Sometimes we need more than one CAM. Sometimes there needs to be a ZBA, one for the ZBA and one for PZC. In fact, I had a long discussion with Marcy about this last week. And like I said, in this instance, the difference is that the applicant got a refund of his check because we weren't going to make him pay when he didn't have to go through the whole process and get the report.
Well, that makes sense. But it goes to what I was asking about earlier is why are we scheduling a public hearing for this then?
It shouldn't be.
Okay.
There's no public hearing, just shown
That's
here.
what.
Yeah, there's no public hearing. It's just a CAM.
Well, the note said to receive and schedule public hearing, and I was confused by why we would schedule a public hearing for a CAM.
Oh, I guess Christie, it does. It says receive and schedule for a public hearing app. That shouldn't be there.
Okay, so we just need to make a decision on this tonight.
Correct. And the thing is that you have a report from Marcy because again, we didn't ask for a full, a full breakdown report because she's already reviewed it for DBA twice.
Okay, well, that solves my confusion. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes it much easier for us, everyone. We simply have to make a decision on this that we've essentially made on this property before, which is the CAM application. Does somebody, is there any discussion among the members first before none? Does anybody have the correct language to read for a CAM application in front of them? Because I didn't pull that tonight. Let me see.
Christie, are you at the
I do.
office?
I'm looking it up right now. Yep.
Yeah.
Drop it in the
That's about
chat
it.
or share it with us.
I'm gonna copy and paste it onto the chat.
Okay. Okay. Okay, can I have someone do this as approved without conditions? So the first part.
Can I make a motion to approve?
As it is consistent with all applicable coastal
I can
policies.
read it, Ellen. Ellen, I can read it. Thank you, Ellen. I can read it. For CAM application was the language. If approved, as it is consistent with all applicable coastal policies, includes all reasonable measures to mitigate adverse impacts.
Okay, and I'll second.
With conditions.
You don't need to do conditions. We didn't have any.
There is none.
Oh.
All right, and I'll
Okay.
second. Yeah.
Thank you. Any
Sorry,
further
I just thought you
discussion?
didn't see it, that's all.
Okay. In that case, can we have a roll call vote, Chrissy?
Mike Knutson,
Aye.
Ellen Dahlgren,
Aye.
Eddie Alvarino,
Aye.
Martin Jaffe,
Aye.
Alan Kravitz,
Aye.
Adam Moore,
Aye.
and Brendan Saunders.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So that's passed. Congratulations and thank you for catching that, Joe.
You're welcome. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Take care. Okay. So for old business, are considering 22-12 modification for a special exception of 16 Nod Road. We just closed this tonight. The basic request here is to change vinyl fence for some other kind of opaque fence and leave the rest of the buffered as previously requested or approved. Do I have a motion on this one?
I'll move to approve PZC 22-12 modification for a special exception for 16 Nod Road. to remove the requirement for a vinyl fence in the rear of the property and install instead an opaque fence conforming to zoning regulations 12.46.2 C1, map 33, block 9, lot 19 and 20 zoning.
I'll
Okay,
second.
second with Alan. Okay, thank you. Any further discussion?
I'll let you finish that motion. I just have something else. So.
Okay, we'll get to you in a moment then. Okay. There's no further discussion from the commission. Can we have a roll call vote, Christie?
Mike Knutson,
Aye.
Ellen Dahlgren,
Aye.
Eddie Alberino,
Aye.
Martin Jaffe,
Aye.
Alan Kravitz,
Aye.
Adam Moore,
Aye.
and Brendan Saunders.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So that is passed. Now, we're moving on to, we're still in old business. Kathy, you had something?
Yes, Christy, I believe you emailed the commission today. We had an application that we just need to receive, and it is for a map change. Christy, you sent that out, right? That's for Greg Fettis, the one that came in today, PZC 2216, I believe.
I
Remember,
didn't see an
you asked me
email.
to review it. You don't remember, you asked me to review it. So this is the one for, it's a zone, it's a map change for a property in an R10 zone. We need to just add it to the agenda. Christy, remember it came in today? You showed it to me and you asked me to review it for Greg Fettis.
Yes, and I asked, yes, I do
Okay,
remember discussing it, yes.
That's what I'm talking about. That needed, I thought you emailed the commission that needs to be
You
added
told
on
me-
tonight.
You told me not to, that it would just be quick, that you could just mention it during the meeting.
No,
So I did
not to add it on is, but we're adding it on as just to receive, but we have to add it on officially. Because remember, it was received 24 hours. Yeah. So can you read off what that is? They need to add it on to the agenda.
PZC 2216 39 Waterside Lane, zone change of subject property from R20 to R10.
Okay, and this is to receive and schedule for public hearing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's just a zone change at this point. There's no development with it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But I mean, it's still down a hearing.
you're right. So can we have a motion to add this to the agenda for consideration?
I'll make a motion to add it.
Okay.
to the
I'll
agenda.
second.
Second from Brendan. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, any discussion? Okay, can we have a roll call for adding this to the agenda, please?
Mike Knutson,
Aye.
Ellen Dahlgren,
Aye.
Eddie Alberino,
Aye.
Martin Jaffe,
Aye.
Alan Kravitz,
Aye.
Adam Moore,
Aye.
and Brendan Saunders.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, so we now have, it was 16, right? 2216?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can we have a motion to receive and schedule for public hearing, planning and zoning 22-16, which is a change in zone for a lot.
So moved.
That was
For
Mike Knut-
November the 14th, right?
For November the 14th, yes,
Yes.
And that was Mike Knutson, correct?
correct.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Eddie.
Okay, any discussion? Without that, can we have a roll call vote again, Christie?
Mike Knutson,
Aye.
Ellen Dahlgren,
Aye.
Eddie Alberino,
Aye.
Martin Jaffe,
Aye.
Alan Kravitz,
Aye.
Adam Moore,
Aye.
Brendan Saunders.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, so that's for the 14th also. Okay, committee reports. Do we have any committee reports? I didn't think the regulations committee was meeting last month.
We did not.
Okay. We'll move on. Correspondence. The town of Westbrook, we had a referral from them.
Yes.
So we need to, they would like our comments on their accessory apartments amendment. So did anybody have any problem, or would anybody have a problem with us sending them a note? I think it should just simply say that we see no adverse effect to the town of Clinton with these changes.
Absolutely. Go ahead, send it out.
Mhm. Is that a motion?
Motion to send the town of Westbrook recommendations that we have no adverse problems with accessory apartments.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion? Okay, in that case, can we have a roll call vote on this? And
Mike
Getting-
Nixon,
Aye.
Ellen Dahlgren,
Aye.
Eddie Alberino,
Aye.
Martin Jaffe,
Aye.
Alan Kravitz,
Aye.
Adam Moore,
Aye.
and Brendan Saunders.
Aye.
Thank you.
thank you, everyone. And now we get the fun part. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll
Second.
second.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Let's do this as just a
Voice vote.
voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? All in favor? Thank you.
Christie, you need a raise.
I think this is the first time we've had all unanimous votes.
I know.
I know.
I'm shocked.
All night.
We can
All
stop
night.
recording.